And points further south than that, I see some of you from Peoria, and south of that, and some of you from west of Woodstock, to the famous Woodstock Square here for our historic Memorial Day celebration called earlier Decoration Day by, you'll hear read from Logan's orders that pronounce this day. And then in 1950, it was changed to Memorial Day for us to celebrate our military comrades deceased that we're celebrating today. Veterans Day is another holiday in November. And we sure do appreciate the great weather here for our Memorial Day service. And we're intentionally happy as your local Veterans of Foreign Wars post 5040 here in our square. And welcome, of course, the organized parade following, which many of you are participants in, I'm sure already. And numerous, it'll be entailing numerous of our own local community recognizable schools, businesses, churches, and municipal entries that you'll be viewing happily also immediately following this. And we're welcoming you to our luncheon over at the VFW, which is located about 100 yards back behind the square, the theater that some of you already know about because we do the weekly fish fries on Friday nights and lightning games. And we are again celebrating our deep felt appreciation of our fallen military colleagues over the years. Some presented on this Soldiers Memorial, and we'll have some named following this by our Armory staff of the Delta Company. All of us that have defended the country, taking the oath of action to defend our way of life against all enemies, foreign and domestic, have one comparison in swearing with that oath: signing a blank check willingly since after any American draft not occurring here since the World Wars. That check left blank to be utilized by our United States executive branch of our United States that have ever taken that oath to defend our hallowed country with an amount up to including our lives. I'm Fred Strauss, retired Air Force Lieutenant Colonel and current commander of our local Post 5040 here of the Veterans of Foreign Wars. And fortunately, we have a place different than several other Veterans of Foreign Wars, meeting in Holiday Inns, bowling alleys, and hotels around the country with no location to claim. As memberships decline, unable to afford, in our case, even a rented location. But we'd like to see you all there as often as you can in our building and meeting place. And we do another tremendous thing we do in the back row that are going to reposition themselves for our final ceremonial act of the gun salute of our honor guard that shoots at probably cemeteries. I've done it 3 times a week, once to bury a fallen comrade earlier, at least once a week, seemingly every year for the past couple of years. From all the way up to southern Wisconsin a little bit, and then on through the southern Illinois area. We'll do that again today, in the middle of the parade route, out the street between both cemeteries, in the middle of the parade, not stopping it, but for that shot that you'll hear as the parade continues as we lead off from behind the Opera House. You'll hear shortly the orders addressing this beginning of our solemn recognition by positive declarations for the deceased defenders of our freedoms that has been marked nationally as a celebration of our fallen military comrades in arms that have valiantly defended for hundreds of years our great nation, some of which are on that soldiers' monument right there locally. We are proud to undertake this celebration and business holiday off, in part also afterward inviting you to our luncheon, probably $7 I think we're charging for people, adults, free for veterans or currently serving military, and children under 7 years old are free to eat, some of you there. The day is pretty special for those of us that have ever taken the oath of office to defend our country. against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and sometimes unfortunately return with emotions not experienced by probably more than 85% of our nation's citizens. Two introductions I'd like to begin with. That we are fortunate enough to have a quartet from the Woodstock High School on South Street. And please come up. These four directed by the tremendous vocal activities director at Woodstock High School, Brian Joswiak. Here in place is Ricardo Murillo, Aiden Johnson, Adeline Arena, and Kennedy Treliving. I have heard these guys sing, they're amazing at the high school performances. We're going to get ready for the national anthem in just a second. Before that, I want to introduce also Jennifer Galvin, who won our local post Voice of Democracy winning essay, and it's a Voice of Democracy, so she was on a flash drive that we heard and judged. And not only winning our post's best missive from the area that we covered, and that's all the way out to Johnsburg, McHenry, pretty much out to Frankfurt. And our 5th district was their choice of her winning too for also for scholarships. And we took her down with her parents and Jennifer, why don't you come on up now, because she right immediately following the national anthem by these guys is going to be Jennifer's reading a Pledge of Allegiance to that flag. So when that happens, those of you that are military, please cover and render the proper salute. If you're comfortable with your hats off, please, or on your feet, that would be wonderful during that. So without further ado, can we have the national anthem sung by our quartet?